Hey, so I'm here with my 2008 Acura RL, and we're gonna do the transfer case fluid and then also the differential fluid changes. Um, this will definitely apply to the 2005 through 2008 RL. This is the 2008, and then I think the generation after that, 2009 to 2012, they switched to a 3.7 liter motor, but it's probably generally the same. And then a lot of other Acura and Honda models with the 3.5 liter, 3.7 liter engine and the all-wheel drive system, the SH all-wheel drive system, it's probably going to be pretty similar. But I can only say for sure the 2005 through 2008 RL, because that's what this is. It's part of that second generation RL. There you go. All right, let's get into it.
All right, so when you get in here underneath, there's gonna be from front to back here. You're on the front of the car, come on back. There's a pretty similar drain plug to what we're gonna be removing here. That's the transmission. And then you get back here, and this is actually the fill plug for the transfer case. And then there's the drain plug. And they're actually, you can just put a 3/8 inch ratchet or what have you right on these guys. So kind of a dead giveaway for what the transfer case is. It says gear oil right there. So that's one way you can tell that you're getting into the transfer case instead of the transmission, which we're gonna do the transmission eventually too. That's a whole process, especially like the first time you do it or so, or I don't know if you're maybe supposed to do this process every time, but it involves like you drain it and then you refill it and you drive it a certain amount of miles and you drain it and refill it and you do that like twice. Anyway, we're gonna be doing the transfer case. You want to take out the fill plug first, just in case you can't get it out for some reason, because if you drain it, you get out the drain plug and you drain it, and then you can't get out the fill plug, you're obviously hosed. So let's make sure we can get out that fill plug first.
All right, so I got both drain plugs off, and I highly recommend following the advice of taking off the fill bolt first before taking off the drain bolt to make sure you can get off the fill bolt, because the fill bolt is actually harder to get off than the drain bolt, probably because of the angle that it's at. Anyway, the drain bolt has a crush washer on it, and it's highly recommended that you replace crush washers, obviously, because of what they do. They crush whatever to make the seal. Life hack: obviously all vehicles have crush washers on, a lot of times on the oil pan, pretty much anything that you have to drain fluid off of. I always just do this. Now it's a new crush washer. Crush it in the other direction. Hey yo, so we took off the fill bolt, took off drain bolt, we drained the fluid, we flipped around our crush washer so that we can crush it in the other direction. So we're gonna put this bad boy back up in here. Yeah. We'll get that tightened up in there. I'm sure there's some kind of torque setting. I'll let you know what that is if I find it out. And then we're gonna fill back up through this hole. I looked everywhere I could. I couldn't find any specific fluid capacities for the transfer case. So, I mean, I'm gonna guess that it probably takes like the standard 1 quart. I'm guessing. Or probably the way we're gonna do this is we're putting the fluid in through this fill bolt, right? And obviously it can't get any higher than the level of the fill bolt. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna fill it up until either the one quart is gone, because I haven't seen anything anywhere where people are putting more than one quart in. I'm just concerned about it being less than one quart. So we're gonna put the fluid in there until either the quart all goes in and or it starts overflowing from that fill bolt hole. Now, I've seen some people saying that to get the proper fluid level, you have to have the car level. You don't want to do it while it's on ramps, which I have it on ramps right now. I'm a pretty small guy. I don't feel like getting under that car without it on ramps. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to fill the fluid level while it's on ramps. Transfer case drain and fill plugs torque setting is 32 foot-pounds, which is nothing. So that basically means just tighten that sucker up.
Hey yo, so we got that drain plug all plugged up with our crush washer, and we got the fill hole still unplugged, and we about to put the fluid in there.
Hey yo, so I've seen a couple things out there about the gear oil, 7590, 8090, whatever. You really can't go wrong with Lucas oil. I guess you could get the Honda Acura stuff, but probably pay a lot more for it. API GL5 is all that matters. It meets the specifications. Got one of these bad boys for putting the oil in the transfer case. We'll use it again for the differential, I think, as long as this works out. This is like $13 at Advanced Auto. So, I mean, if you start trying to put the whole quart of oil into this Pro Tools thing, you're gonna quickly wonder how you do this without making a mess. And so far, I gotta tell you, you don't. So don't try and put the whole quart of oil in this thing without trying to make a mess, because you're not going to. So I guess we're gonna start with, it's probably less than half of a quart. Fuck it, hey, here we go. It probably says on here somewhere where the capacity of this thing is. The Pro Tools suction gun that we're using here holds 16 ounces, which is a pint. So I got that all filled up. It seems to have taken about half a quart, which would be 1 pint, 16 ounces. Just wanted to point out that the fill bolt also has a crush washer, so you can go ahead and turn that one around too. Definitely on this one, I mean, it doesn't seem like the fill bolt keeps much pressure or does anything really important, although it's on there a lot tighter. Or maybe it's just the angle, like I said before. Anyway, crush washer, you're supposed to replace them. Turn them around. Okay, so we're moving right along here. We're gonna do the differential now. To get the differential done, you wanna get the rear end of the car up in the air. So I've just got it backed up onto ramps, and it's kind of pretty much the same thing. Like there's actually two different tanks or reservoirs, whatever you want to call it, back here. There's a fill plug and a drain plug for each one. I'll show you where they're at, and we're gonna remove the fill plugs first just to make sure that we can get them off of there, and then we're gonna remove the drain plugs, drain the fluid, and it's well, let me show you what's going on down here.
So we get right down under here, and that's the first drain plug that you see right there. And the corresponding fill plug for it is right up there. So we're gonna remove that first, just make sure we can, and then we're gonna remove that. And this chamber holds apparently like just shy of a quart. And then the second set of plugs are over on the side here. There's the drain plug, and there's the fill plug. So when we do this, I'll probably just do it all at once, but I'll remove this first just to make sure I can get it off before removing that and draining it. Because basically the whole idea is you just don't want to wind up in a situation where you've drained the fluid and then you can't get your fill plug off, and then what are you gonna do? And this chamber over here apparently holds just shy of 2 quarts. So you'll want to have 4 quarts of Acura all-wheel drive fluid, DPSF. There's a Honda equivalent that's probably cheaper and is obviously the same thing. Just wanted to show you this because it's kind of a tight squeeze in here. And what was working for me on the last ones on the transfer case was to use my 1/2-inch ratchet with an adapter, because the 1/2-inch ratchet is bigger, so you get better leverage. But with the adapter on it and all, it doesn't I actually fit it on the fill plug there. But if you would start backing out the fill plug, your wrench would really quickly get stuck on this cross member here. And let me tell you from experience that that's not a fun situation to be in. So I'm gonna have to try to make the actual 3/8-inch ratchet work here, because there's room here for when I actually start backing this out, which I know these things aren't long, but you need to have some room to back out, or it'll just get stuck against this cross member here. Okay, with the 3/8-inch wrench on there, gave the 3/8-inch ratchet a couple good whacks with the I don't even know what this is, like a 2-pound dead blow hammer. So it didn't take a whole lot of effort, and that fill plug broke loose. And then, just like on the transfer case, these guys have a crush washer on them that, again, you can replace. Probably a good idea to replace, but I'm gonna do the old whoop. You can see that washer is in fine shape, so that's all I'm doing. And I'm gonna set that aside over here, and then get ready to no, you know what? Let's drain this first compartment. Or no, you know what? I'm gonna take off the fill plug on the other side too. Which is right here. Let's see what we got here. This is probably gonna need a couple whacks too. Oh. Alright, there she blows. I feel like stuff's about to come out of there. Yeah, I got that first reservoir drained, so I'm just gonna go ahead and let that drip for a minute, but then move over to the second one. I'll put that drain plug back in. Just a word of warning: you want to position that your catch pan kind of far forward. That stuff really comes gushing out of there. Now, I just drove this car for about an hour before starting on this, and I let it rest for maybe another hour, but still, it's, like, my diff is definitely pretty warm. So I mean, I think that's the way you're supposed to do it anyway. They tell you, you know, you're supposed to warm the car up before changing both of these, the transfer case and the differential fluid, but that stuff really comes gushing out of there, so be careful. All right, well, she's all buttoned up. Probably gonna go take it through the car wash to get all the excess oil and stuff off of it, fluid, whatever you want to call that crap. The strategy of take out the fill plug, drain it, put the drain plug back in, fill it, put the fill plug back in. Definitely a good idea. Do it in that order. In this smaller chamber over here, it worked out really well to be able to fill in the fill at the fill bolt or fill plug, and when fluid started coming out of here, obviously it's full. Didn't really work as well over here. I drained it and then was filling it in the at the fill plug here, and I never got to the point where this was overflowing, and I used up all, like, I had 4 quarts and I ran out of fluid before this thing started overflowing. Now, that being said, I did spill quite a bit of fluid.